Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Good morning and welcome to WWDC 2019.
Hey, Daniel.
Hey, Michael.
How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Why are we talking like this?
I don't know. We just turned into a southern podcast.
I don't know, man. I'm speaking funny, and it's not working well. So, okay, stop. Just stop. Stop it. Stop it, dude. WWDC dub. Oh my goodness,
Bro.
wow.
Talk about mind blown. They nailed it.
I am speechless. I don't know where to start. So much has happened. It is incredible the amount of stuff they covered. They were going at a breakneck speed. You know what breakneck speed is?
Yes. It's when your car is going so fast that you can't hold your head up, so your neck breaks.
It's when your car has too much power. Too much power.
Apple has too much power. Yeah. With the Mac Pro.
Dude,
okay.
Man. Johnny Ive. Not Johnny Ive. What's his face?
Tim Cook. Craig Federighi. This man is a legend.
He had to shush the audience.
Living legend.
You heard that, man? He had to shush the audience. Because he had so much stuff to cover. He never shushes the audience. He always lets them applause. Man, he deserves that title, Air Force One. He deserves it. He deserves it. All right, man.
Bro, it was amazing. So let's get right into it.
So let's see how we'll go. I think we should just go chronologically because there's no sense in an other way to go, through the topics. We might as well just go from the beginning of what they covered to the end and spend more time on the stuff that we actually care about.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Sounds good. Okay, let's get to it. So in the beginning, they started with a trailer. Did you like the trailer? It's a trailer for the Apple TV Plus. It's the series, and it's one of the shows it's a sci-fi show, of course, and it's an alternate future or past, we could say, where the Russians made it to the moon first before the Americans, and so you could see during this really epic trailer so many cutscenes and so much intense music and rockets and people arguing and everything, and I was shocked. It was good, man. I kind of want to watch it now, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know about you, man.
For All Mankind.
Yeah.
That's what it's called.
It's a good title.
That's a pretty good title. That's bro, from the trailer, you guys should go watch it. We'll try to put a link in the show notes for the trailer if it's possible. But the trailer was really intriguing. What happened? It looked like a really good trailer. It looks like a really good show. And if all their shows are like this, I'm not sure exactly which episode it was, but there was an episode where I mentioned the fact that I didn't think that Apple TV Plus was gonna do good because of the fact of Netflix and Prime TV.
Yeah, that was episode 4.
All that stuff. It was episode 4.
Yeah.
And now, after seeing this trailer, and if all their shows are going to be like this, I take that back. Because, I don't know, their shows look really, really spot on. Well,
seriously, I was really impressed.
For All Mankind looked really good. And they have good actors and good directors, so maybe it'll shock us.
Uh-huh.
So, that's Apple TV Plus.
Exactly. If the TV series is anything to go by with what we have right now and what we saw in the trailer, I would watch it and I would continue watching it till it ends because it's kind of historical, but in the sense where the U.S. didn't who doesn't like rockets,
exactly.
rocket science and everything,
exactly,
and all it's like a good drama. It's not like a drama where everyone died. It's imagine a past where the Americans didn't go on the moon first, the Russians did, and all what it entails. The Russians would have probably won the Cold War. Or the Cold War would have been different because a lot of the things that led the U.S. to win the Cold War is because they had so much superior technology to the Russia, and Russia saw the might, the not just the economic might, but the technological might of the U.S. So they capitulated and they they basically surrendered and they had to basically deal a peace treaty. But in that scenario of the TV series that we watched in the trailer, it could be the opposite. Maybe the states are down on their knees, which is really like a proposition that we never considered.
Exactly. So it looks like a really good show, and I'm actually excited to watch it. So I think I'll be subscribed. You know what? Apple should not make services, because now my bank account is hurting, man. My wallet is saying no. With Apple Arcade and like Apple TV Plus.
Your wallet is like, don't do it, no.
And I'm looking at it right now. The pictures that they used for WWDC with the mind blown, with the robot with the head exploding, or the skull with the head exploding, or the monkey, or what was the other one? There was a fourth one. I'm not sure.
The robot.
What it was. The robot, the monkey, the skull,
chicken, and the chicken.
Yes, the chicken. We'll try to link a picture of that in the show notes also. That is exactly what happened this year at WWDC. Everybody's head was exploding the same way that this guy's head is exploding.
Yeah, and so let's get started.
Yeah.
Today's episode is not going to be like any other episode. We're just going to talk about WWDC. We don't have a pre-show. We don't have a post-show. So this is episode 5, and let's begin. So, is it episode 5?
Episode 6.
This is episode 6, and let's begin. And so, first topic after the trailer was the Apple TV. Now, we don't really care about Apple TV because neither of us own one. But let's just cover quickly the main features that they announced. And if you feel like targeting yourself on any one of the topics, then we could do that. Firstly, there was multiple users like Netflix.
Yeah, that's a cool addition I find to the Apple TV, because it makes sense. If you have like a small child and you're an adult, the child obviously, or you wouldn't be interested in what your child is watching, and your child isn't interested in what you're watching. So, and then the child would be getting recommendations for adult movies, and the adult would be getting recommendations for child movies, or TV shows or whatever. So I find this is a good thing that each user of the Apple TV has their own account.
Yep, that's right.
And they have curated content specifically for them based on their watch history.
Yep. Also, the improved Apple Music with lyrics integration. So instead of just having the album art and the playtime of the audio track and play, pause, and skip and whatever, and now you have the lyrics as well, and it's timed with the song. So the lyrics will align itself with the audio track, which is nice because you don't have to scroll for it or whatever.
Exactly. Sort of like a bouncy ball. It's not a bouncy ball per se, but it's that concept. Oh, also just a little thing on the Apple Music, sorry. That's also on iOS.
Yes.
The lyrics, it's on iOS also.
Yes, of course. And so usually when they do a feature on one device, Apple believes in feature parity, so they'll bring that feature to all the other platforms. So it comes to the iPad, and I think also it will come to the Mac. I might be mistaken, but we'll be able to see it if there is lyrics support. It'll also be on Apple Music and the maps, but that's a topic for later. And so the third thing they announced is the new control center. And the control center, for those who don't know, is when you swipe from the bottom to the top of your phone.
Or on new phones from the top right corner.
Depending on what model you have. And you have the Wi-Fi controls and everything. And now you have access to those features with the Apple TV, which allows you to connect Bluetooth and everything very quickly, or put it to turn off Wi-Fi, and without having to dig into the settings, which is pretty annoying. So you have quick access to your most requested and used features, let's say.
Yeah, it's a nice little feature for them to add to Apple TV.
Yep. Now, the fourth thing is something that pertains mostly to you, since you have the most experience with it. I had known nothing about it, so carry on, Daniel. Talk about the controllers.
Yes. So now the fourth thing is the fact that the Apple TV supports Xbox and PS4 controllers. This is amazing because the Apple TV has an app store, and you can download games on it, and you can game on it. And what they had was they had this Steel Series controller, but it wasn't at the quality of an Xbox or PlayStation. Like, you know, your joysticks on an Xbox and PS controller, you could press them in to get extra features, extra controls.
Yep.
But on this Steel Series, you couldn't. It's just a cheaper build. Like the layout wasn't as nice. Now, what this is amazing because you have people. Xbox and PS controllers are obviously different. They're different layouts, and there's some people who prefer the PS layout, and there's some people who prefer the Xbox layout.
Totally.
And what I find really cool about this is that they went Xbox and PlayStation, so that whether you prefer the Xbox style of the Xbox layout or you prefer the PlayStation layout, you can get either one. And I just find that this is really amazing. This is just a really cool feature. And also this one too is added to iOS, which is really great, which means that now on your iPad that has graphics of an Xbox One S, you could use an Xbox One S controller and you could play Fortnite with the controller on the beautiful screen of your brand new iPad that has the same graphics as an Xbox. So I don't know why you would buy an Xbox when you can just get a controller and an iPad and play the same games.
Yeah. Well, anyways, everyone's playing really Fortnite, so yeah.
Exactly. So just play the mobile version.
Fortnite,
it's no different
PUBG,
with the controller.
True.
So I find that's a really cool addition to iOS and Apple TV.
Yep, it's true. And I would like also to say that it's very useful also for the new games that are coming up with the Google
Stadia.
Google Stadia. No, I mean Apple Arcade. So Apple Arcade, most of the games probably is a requirement for them to have at least a few, like the ones that I don't know how they're going to go about with it, but I bet that Apple is going to have a requirement for some of them to support the remote control.
For sure.
Remote control in remote control for the Apple TV, but also to support PlayStation 4 and PS2, and which are really good remote controls. And this will allow is people to actually enjoy the gameplay way better, because the remote control for the Apple TV is very small, very slippery, and it doesn't have the same speed and response of a PlayStation controller. It has more latency since it's IR dependent, infrared. And
exactly.
So it's good, like if you're playing Angry Birds or any other games of that kind. But anything more advanced, forget it. Just forget it.
Take Fortnite or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And the Apple TV is very capable. It has like a 9 chip, a 10 chip,
something like that.
Depending which one.
It's capable.
And I bet that this summer they'll update it for the A12,
sure.
the A12X to play the fastest
That'd be
games.
amazing if they put the A12.
Yeah.
X Bionic in there, or no, it's not. Is it Bionic? A12X Bionic?
Yeah, the A12X Bionic.
Yeah, it's the Bionic.
Or I don't know if the X versions has the Bionic's
I don't know.
the Bionic name attached to it. But regardless, anyways.
Whatever. For now, we'll just call it A12X.
Yeah. And also, for those who know about like Google TV or whatever, the Android TV stuff, you know that if ever you leave your Android TV turned on for a while, a screensaver will start playing, right? And usually it's like nice pictures of like sceneries that photographers and photographs of like very beautiful places, and they're just playing in a slideshow. But Apple does something different. Last year, they took basically a video of the Earth from the space station up in the sky, the ISS, the International Space Station. And you could see the Earth in all of the times of the day, so in the morning and in the night, turning, or actually both of them are turning. The Earth is turning and the ISS is turning in the other direction. And the ISS station is capturing all of it, and it's beautiful. And so that was last year. This year, they decided to go under the sea. So if you also want, if you're sick of looking at the Earth from space, which I don't know how you could do that because it's so beautiful, but if you what you could do now is Apple partnered with Discovery Channel or one of those channels that do documentaries, and they basically went through all the beautiful parts of the oceans and took very high definition. I think was recorded in 8K, but they downsampled it to 4K, and so it's 4K a time lapse or a video of a camera moving through the ocean and going through the coral reefs and through fish and showing you like the ocean as if it was like a video. And this will play every time that you're not doing anything in your Apple TV. So it's like a screensaver, and it's beautiful. It's very beautiful.
Yeah, it's a very nice addition they put.
Yeah,
Very nice.
Imagine what's missing. Like what's missing is like they make a 3D version of it. So basically, you just put 3D goggles on your face and you just watch it in 3D. Like you feel you're immersed into all of the ocean and everything.
Now you're in the ocean. Now you're a scuba diver straight in your living room.
Exactly.
Straight from your living room.
And you just get someone to like spray water on you, then you can feel it completely.
Pour a bucket of water on you.
Yeah, continuously pour a bucket and flood your house. There you go. That's the way to go about it.
And then after the water gets on the Apple TV and it turns off.
There you go.
And then you have to come back to Earth and realize your house is flooded.
Well, you probably electrocute yourself before that, but yeah.
It's true. So it's all Apple's master plan to kill you.
There you go. Yep. I've known from the beginning that they were trying to kill us. Anyways.
Knew it. Steve Jobs.
It's always Steve Jobs. It's always
Steve Jobs.
Yep.
Anyway, so let's move on to the next segment, that the next product that they spoke about at WWDC, which is the beloved, one and only, top of its class, Apple Watch.
Apple Watch! Dude.
Yeah.
This got so many applauses, and you could, if you stuck through the whole presentation, you would realize that when they were presenting the Apple Watch, they did not cover everything because it would spoil what they're going to say after.
Yeah.
I'll get to that. But they started by announcing new watch faces, which were interesting. But but I don't care for them.
They're okay. I mean, we don't care about watch faces. Let's move on.
I'm probably just like stick with the infographic one, and yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I'm good with the infographic too. I find that watch face is the best. I mean, they came off a California dial. Let's not even get started on that thing.
No, I'm going to get started on that thing because this thing is atrocious. You know? Look, why would you confuse people by putting Roman numerals with numbers and then empty spaces with no... Just Google it. California watch dial.
Super ugly.
It's
really
ugly. It doesn't make sense. Like... A watch, like a watch with like watch hands, like a regular analog watch.
Even on that, it's ugly.
You should be able to tell the time by just taking a glance on it. This one confuses you because it doesn't have lines and stuff. It's just terrible.
It's like numbers at the top and Roman numerals at the bottom. The top half is numbers and the bottom half is Roman numerals. Like, why?
Yeah.
Why?
And by the way, it only has the number 2, 4, 6, 8, 10,
which
12.
makes it even worse.
And half of these are in Roman numerals and the other half. So let's say if it's 1, you can't really tell because there's no line to tell you that it's 1 p.m.
Exactly.
Or 1 a.m.
It's just in between the number 2 and 4.
Yeah, and you can't really tell. It confuses you. I told you this earlier.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Hey, Future Mike here. Sorry for interrupting this program. I would just like to precise that this following segment only talks about objects that derive their name from California and not the people from California. I hope that this following segment will be taken in the intended spirit. Thank you.
Anything named after California is terrible. Like California pizza, anything else. California, terrible.
The Ferrari California is the ugliest one they make.
Just like a silent roast on everything California.
The only good thing from California is the Silicon Valley with Apple's headquarters, Cupertino. That's it. That's it.
But
everything else.
But then again, it's debatable where it comes from. So that's the topic for another time. And so the next thing they announced is the hour chime thing, which is very nice.
This thing is pretty cool. What they did is that every time it reaches a new hour, let's say from 11:59 to 12, like any hour, it'll make a little noise. What they showcased was it did a bird tweeting.
Yeah, it's a robin.
But it was a little bit long.
A robin.
It was a bit long.
Yep.
But I think they said that there were other chimes too. They just show the bird, right?
Yeah, I'll just have it on vibration, honestly.
Yeah.
Get it on vibration, and like every hour that passes, it just like nudges me. I used to have one of those.
It's like a grandfather clock, sort of.
Basically, but I used to have a
Or make
Nike
some
watch. A Nike watch back before smartwatches became a thing. So that's like the first step to smartwatches. And I'll show it to you later, Daniel. It's a pretty cool watch. And
Yeah,
it,
sure.
it
I'd
did
like to
that.
see it.
It did that. It did a silent
Oh,
beep.
really?
A really silent beep. But the beep wasn't audible. You could feel it. That was the difference.
Oh.
So the speaker emitted a frequency that you can't really hear well. So like over distances, no one would hear it, but you could feel it in your hand.
That's cool.
Because the watch didn't have a bright vibration motor. So anyways, so it's probably something around those, around this, like I think you could set it that every half hour it'll tell you that half hour has passed, and it will just nudge you with the vibration motor, which is excellent on the Apple Watch. Or
It's
it will
nice. It's a nice addition.
yeah. And then next feature they announced is new applications, namely the
Yes.
Apple Books. Apple Books, which is basically Audible but for Apple.
Well, Apple Books, you can buy books that you could read on Apple Books, but the only part that they brought is the audiobooks from
Exactly.
Apple Books. Like
Exactly.
you can't actually read a book off your Apple Watch, like reading text, only the audio part
Yeah.
from Apple Books.
They also brought the memo. So now you can
Yes.
record from your Apple Watch. And
That's cool.
The thing I want to find out right now is, can it control the recording application from your phone? So let's say you put your
That
phone
would
somewhere.
be so
Can you
nice.
start the recording away from your phone through your watch, or do you have to set it up on the watch and then retrieve it and then stop it? I'm wondering if the watch behaves also as remote control and a recorder, or just as a recorder.
It'll be nice if it'll behave as a remote control.
And a
But
recorder,
I think
yeah.
that's a little bit of... sorry.
Well,
I think it
both.
behaves just as a recorder, but I don't know if a remote control, they didn't say anything about that. But there are a lot of things that they didn't say that are. So,
Well, I wish it would be both.
Yeah.
Both a recorder and
a remote.
remote control for your iPhone.
And this other app that they brought over to the Apple Watch makes you relive your calculator watch dreams.
Yes.
Because they brought the calculator app to the Apple Watch. Yes.
People can cheat on exams now. Yes.
So for all you people who who grew up in the 80s or the 90s, whenever they were popular, and had calculator watches,
Look, they
you
were
could
never
get
popular.
those
They were just popular
back.
in movies. Okay. Let me tell you right
it doesn't
here.
matter.
They were
Doesn't
just
matter.
popular. It's another California thing, you know. There you go.
I
That's
actually had one when I was a kid.
yeah.
I did.
Walmart, right?
Dollarama. It
Dollarama.
broke after like 2 days, but it doesn't matter.
It was the saddest day of your life, right?
It was the saddest day. I cried all day.
Well, I guess we got the title for the podcast. We could call it now. It's just a California thing. So there you go.
There you go.
Anything we don't
There
like,
you
we just
go.
say it's a California thing.
Yeah.
No offense to our
the
California
calculator
listeners.
watches, they came from California.
Yeah.
Okay, so now the App Store on the Apple Watch.
Yeah. Well, this one comes in two parts. There's Apple Watch only apps, which is basically apps you could install from your phone to your Apple Watch, but it doesn't need an application to be present on your phone. So usually what happens is you have a shell of an application on your phone, which just sits there and doesn't do anything, just tells you to open the app on your watch. Like that Twitter application that you use. J, there you go.
Yeah.
Or, so instead of doing that, you could directly download only the application on the watch, and that's a step towards independence of the watch, you know.
Yes.
So in the same way that Apple separated the iPhone from iTunes, where you don't need to start to register your phone when you get your new iPhone or your new iPod or any new device you get, you don't need to pass it through iTunes when you get it. You could just turn it on and then sign in directly. So that's a nice step. And then there's also the second one, which is an app store on the watch. So say that you left, I don't know, on a run or somewhere, and you left your phone behind and you need an application. So they're going to have a way to, of course, it's for only small apps, but you could install apps through your cellular data or your Wi-Fi through your watch only. You don't need your phone. So there's going to be
That's
apps.
amazing.
Yeah.
I love that. I can't wait for it.
Yep.
This is more for like the guys with the LTE watch, but still, it's
Yep.
amazing.
It's more for like people stuck in a pinch, you know. I believe because people leave their phones behind now, that you could do it, you know. And let's say you need a certain app because you forgot to install it, and now you're in a pinch and you need it. So this gives you the ability. It's not going to be the best feature. It's probably going to be slow to download because it's not. It doesn't have.
It's still an Apple Watch.
Yeah. After all, it's like
It's a small processor.
yeah. It has a calculator processor inside. Anyways, you know your Texas
It's still-
Instruments
it's a-
calculator. That's the
Yeah, the
same
graphing
thing.
ones,
Yeah.
same thing.
No, I'm just kidding. It's not true. It's a bit more powerful, but like still, it's not a supercomputer. You know.
It doesn't. It has a hard time loading a web page. So just forget it that way.
To most people who don't
As-
know, you could load a web page on your Apple Watch. You're welcome.
Only if it's a link from like an email or something. There's no Safari on the
Yeah,
Apple
well,
Watch. We're coming there.
I tried
We're
it.
getting
I
there.
tried it. It's funny. It's funny.
Yeah, it takes a long time, like a good minute at least.
Yep.
If there's pictures.
Then
But-
the next thing they announced is improved streaming for Apple Watches. I'm going to go through that one quickly because it's not worth covering much. It's a new API for developers to make streaming better. So hopefully this will improve podcast and Apple Music. Because
So you can listen to us better.
yeah, they already have that right now, but it's not very good. So they improved it, and now it should be better. Hopefully, the Overcast app will have some improvement, which will allow to sync podcast applications from your phone to the watch faster. And anyways, all that stuff should be improved right now, and it will bring joy to our hearts, and we shall rejoice forever and ever.
Yes. and the next thing that they brought is improved health metrics.
Yeah.
They brought 3 things health-wise to the Apple Watch.
Well, more than 3, but the most noteworthy ones.
Yeah,
are the ones that
the 3 most noteworthy ones was number 1. They brought long-term trends and metrics for health and activity.
Yeah.
Now, what this is that like on an Apple Watch there are rings, 3 rings. One is an exercise ring, which it encourages you to do at least 30 minutes of exercise in a day. One is a stand ring,
Yep.
which encourages you to stand for 1 minute every hour for 12 hours. And the last one is the move ring.
Mm-hmm.
Now this, it sets a certain amount of calories for you to burn a day. For me, it's 440 calories a day. For Michael, it's like 1,200, something like that.
1,100,
How much?
yeah.
1,100. So based on your body size and your structure and your height and your weight and whatever, it gives you like a smart recommendation. And it encourages you to burn all of those calories in a day. Now, those are called rings. And now what this is that it's going to show you over, like, let's say a week or over a month or a year, what's your average calorie amount that you burn in a month.
Also,
or
how you're
what's the
progressing.
Yeah, like if like, during this week or whatever, during this month, you burnt an average of 10 calories more than you did last month.
Yep.
Or you did an average of 5 minutes more of exercise this month than you did last month. Or you stood an extra hour more than like, and it's things like that. It shows your it gives you your trends. Like this whole year, 2019, let's say you stood an average of let's say 11 hours for the whole year. That was your average. And it'll just give you long-term trends and data, which I find would be very helpful to see how you're improving or what to work on health-wise, which
Yep.
I find is really cool. That's the first thing. And I'll let you say the second.
And the second one is noise health. So in our daily lives, we have always circumstances where the noise around us isn't ideal, both in our our headphones and in the surrounding sounds. And so this is an aspect of health that most people don't know about because it's very hard to track. But the Apple Watch gives you the perfect way to track it. Since it's on your wrist, it's not generally covered up by clothes or something that muffles the sound. So it has an accurate representation of your surrounding sound, and it could know your Apple Watch knows the volume of which you listen to music or your content on. So all of that being said, it will track the decibel levels of your surroundings and your listening, and it will give you advice. If the noise is too high, it'll tell you, like the decibel amount around you right now isn't optimal for your long-term ear health, and it will create to you a statistic where you could basically monitor the surrounding sound around you and take decisions in consequence. So let's say you take public transportation very often, and sometimes public transportation, the engine compartment of the bus, for an example, is very loud. So instead of sitting in the back where the bus engine is, you could probably sit in the front, and in that way you reduce on sound. And also what you could do is wear ear protection in the form of headphones that cover up sound. And that way you could reduce your overall health of your ears by protecting them. Yeah. So that's a very important aspect of health that most people don't know of but would like to know of, because there's no real way to basically track that. What do you think?
No, I mean, people don't walk around with decibel meters everywhere they go.
Exactly.
It's something you don't think about. I mean, sometimes you could put your headphones a bit louder, and then you're listening for a long time, and then you remove your headphones and you're like, man, my ears are ringing a little bit. Or you could be just at a place that's really loud, like take a metro, a subway, a bus, anything, a public transport. You could be at a concert. Well, concerts are known to be really loud. Or you could just be in a place in general. You could be next to a street where there's a lot of cars that are passing by, and the cars are really loud. Or just in general, little things like that. Like you could be at I don't know, anywhere where it would be loud, and this thing will actually alert you and tell you like, oh man, where you are is too loud. Anyways, I find I'm really happy for this.
Yeah, it's going to be useful for us.
It's a cool thing,
and it comes to almost every single Apple Watch, so you don't have to get the newest one to benefit from this feature.
Exactly.
Also, there is cycle tracking for women, so you can know your periods and other women health related things. I think fertility periods and stuff like that. So if you're looking into conceiving or whatever, you could have better metrics and know what periods are and everything related to that. So that's a good thing also. Now on to the next aspect of the presentation, and this is iOS. Man, they brought a lot of stuff for iOS.
Yeah.
So let's begin with the statistics, because Apple every year surprises us with the statistics, and it's the most interesting part, the most interesting 10 seconds of the show in iOS. So for this year, iOS 12 has a 97% satisfaction rate. Most people gave if you do the average of the people, they gave a 97% score for iOS 12. So that's a very good score. Then that
is amazing.
Yep. Then there is install base. So the amount of people that have iPhones, 95% of them are running iOS 12, which is the latest.
85.
85. Thank you. 85% are running the latest software, which is iOS 12, as opposed to Android 9, which carries a 10%. A measly, sad 10%. It is pitiful. I'm sorry. And the funny thing is, Android 9 came out before iOS 12. So they had more time. Anyways, let's not spend too much time on this, but I'm telling you, Android, you got to get your game together.
Come on, man. All you people on Android, just convert.
Also, Apple decided, you know what? They came to us and they said, you know what? We love you so much that we're going to make your old devices even faster. And so now we have speed improvements for Face ID, for people who have Face ID, which is the face unlocking. It detects the biometrics of your face and then unlocks your phone with it. And it's 30% faster, which is significant.
That's a lot.
App download is 50% faster.
50%.
Updates are 60% smaller.
1.50. Yeah, that's amazing.
60% smaller. That's like impressive and significant, you know?
Yeah.
Like you're not going to run your data cap anymore. And now applications launch twice as much faster. So already you have an incredibly fast phone, and now it's twice as fast for launching applications, which is really impressive.
That's incredible.
Probably due to the applications being 50% smaller. So I think there's a correlation.
For sure, that helps. For sure, 100%.
And then there's dark mode. You know, dark mode is a long-awaited topic.
Yeah, for sure. It came on the Mac, now it's on the iPhone, and we are all super happy.
We discussed about it exhaustively last week. We'll cover it lightly, but
there's nothing much to say about dark mode. All your white apps become black.
Yeah. Well, black and gradients of gray, so that you could differentiate between contextual items and menus and stuff like that, so it doesn't confuse you. Because if everything was black, well, it would confuse you. There's also bettering share sheets.
Yeah.
So
that's nice.
Share sheet is used to be confusing. You have like 2 rows and then airdrop. Airdrop, amazing, but that's not that. Nothing was changed in airdrop, but there's the 2 rows. There's one with tools and one with applications, and it was always confusing. Now they fuse those in one, and then on the second row there is quick sharing. So the people you share to most often will appear on top, and then on below you have all your applications and your tools and everything, which is way better. In my opinion.
A lot better. A lot better.
It used to be always confusing. I was wondering, why are you mixing up the tools and like why do you have to delineate between them? Like most, I hope that it's contextually relevant. So let's say you open the music app, that it will show you contextually relevant stuff and not just show you everything like you used to. But
that's a cool thing.
And also. There's the music time synced lyrics that we mentioned earlier.
Yeah, we mentioned it with the Apple TV.
Now there's this new feature called Quick Path. Quick Path is basically a swipe keyboard. So instead of typing with 2 fingers, you could just hold it with one hand and then swipe by not removing your hand from the keyboard, just swiping. You could type words, and it's called the Quick Path typing app.
I'm sure you've heard of this before. It's been on Android for a while, but it's a cool addition to
it's also on Apple, but it's not an official keyboard. Now it's supported in the official keyboard, which is nice. Which is nice.
There's like apps you can download that have it, but now it's nice that it's official iOS.
Yep. Now also Safari looks better. You have more controls for your web page for settings of the web page. So if you want to increase the font, and it's per website. So if you like, let's say a certain website having a bigger font or a different font, then you could set it, and it will always be that way. And every time you return to that website, the fonts will be the same way that you set them earlier, which is nice. And also, similar settings were brought to Mail. So the Mail application now has this feature where when you're writing an email, you have all the note, the word writing, editing, text. Features that you have in the Notes application. So that's nice. And
it is. It's a very nice feature that they added.
And finally, Notes. The Notes app has gallery view. So you could look at, you have another view for your notes. And now you could share folders. Not only notes, but you could share a folder, which is very good. So Daniel will be sharing our podcast note folder. So we could have the same files at all times together. And you want to talk about reminders?
Cool. Sure, yeah. Reminders now, what they did was now there's Just Type.
So Just Type is when you open the application, there's 4 types of interacting with the application. The first one is Just Type, where you could just type in what you need to do, and Siri will figure out what you want. So let's say you write dinner at 4 today. And so Siri will create a reminder that says you have a dinner at 4 today, and later on it will ask you, where do you want the dinner to be had? And so that's a feature. Then there's the QuickType bar. The QuickType bar is also a way that you could set. Let's say there's presets. You just click on the presets, and from there you could create a reminder. And then there is a possibility of attaching photos or documents or a file to that reminder. And then there's task assign. So let's say you have a reminder, but there's a person attached to that reminder. And so you could attach the person's contact to that reminder and say that you need to text him. Well, it will remind you to text him, and it will give you this reminder within the message app. So while you're texting that person, it will give you a reminder at that certain time that you set that you need to talk to that person at this time about this subject at this location, whatever. And lastly, it's Smart List, which basically helps you to keep track of all the things you need to do, and in a visual way, which helps you to achieve and to have a satisfaction in your task achievements.
Yeah, what they did to reminders is very nice overhaul of the app.
Yeah. And then the next thing that they gave us is refreshed maps. So they rebuilt the whole application of maps. We'll cover that later in another episode in more details, because this one is very deep in like we should create our own topic for this, and we should discuss this further comparing it to Google. But basically they remade the whole application. They made it beautiful, and now you have some kind of street view, which gives you a high definition 360 view of everything around you, and there's more sharing features like sharing your ETA and sharing the real-time transit.
Yeah, it's very nice what they did to maps. Then privacy. They did a lot of things. Obviously, we know Apple is a very, very private company, and they keep on building on that each year. And they did this thing that is very nice. It's a very cool feature that they added. It's login and sign in with Apple. Now, what this is that, you know how on some apps they give you the option to either sign in with Google or sign in with Facebook?
Yeah.
Well, now you're going to have the option to sign in with Apple, which I find is really amazing. And they even give you the option that, let's say you don't want to give whatever app you're signing into your actual email address, you can give them a fake, not a fake email address. So Apple in their servers will generate a fake email address. Well, not it's an email.
Call it a burner email.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like burner phones in movies, like all these like spy guys have these burner phones they just break and throw away when they finish with it. Well, now you have a burner email.
And what happens is that Apple creates this email. All the emails that this app sends to you will be sent to this Apple generated email address, and they will forward this email address will forward all these emails to your personal email address, so that the app doesn't actually get your personal email, which I find is really amazing and a slap in the face to Google and Facebook.
Exactly. And I heard from an interview with Federico Vitici, that any application that requires Google or Facebook sign-in must from now on be obligated to also support sign in with Apple. So to give them an option, because in that way you're not forcing your, let's say you have an application that you only want to use once to buy something or whatever, or to do a certain task. And when you open it, they ask for your sign-in.
Yeah.
Right? So they ask you to sign in, but you don't intend to keep using that application. So basically you're forfeiting all of your private information and all your data just to use that application one time. And so this is ridiculous. And so I'm really happy to see that Apple is doing something about it, because this was one of my main complaints, or a very big complaint that I had. And now I'm happy that they're doing something about it. Like I don't have to now unsubscribe from emails of companies that I've downloaded apps from, because they don't understand that I don't want to receive your junk emails because I downloaded your apps once and then deleted it literally like 5 minutes later. So that's a really
very nice
man.
feature that they added.
Yeah, and that being said, they also created something. Well, not created per se, but improved on the feature of share location. So certain applications, when you open them, they will require location. But now you have more granular control on what application gets what. So you could now tell an application that that you'll only get my location once. And this basically means that once you open the application, it will get your location for the first time to know from what country you're from, where you are, basically. And then after that, it will never get it again, which is very good. And then there's background track alerts. So let's say if Google or Facebook are tracking your location in the background without your permission, you will get a notification and know that it's doing so, which is very nice. And then there's Wi-Fi and Bluetooth protection, which means that applications are not allowed anymore to know what your Bluetooth and Wi-Fi connection is. Because that way they could bypass your location data and they could track you that way. So Apple is closing all of the walls on those mischievous and bad applications of tracking you through Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. So some cars have Bluetooth enabled the tracking.
Oh wow!
And so they're blocking this, and Wi-Fi has an IP address which allows you to track. So that's another nothing.
So we're very happy,
which is very good.
Apple is making fortifying the wall of privacy between you and big companies. We're always happy to see that.
You know, Apple and Donald Trump have a lot in common when I think of it. Now, this is a controversial subject, but look at this. Most people hate Apple.
Yeah.
You know? And Apple's always the one that no one agrees with. So like Facebook, Google, and everyone else don't agree with Apple. Which is very fun comparison. The media is always criticizing Apple for doing stuff.
True. The media is always criticizing Donald Trump.
There you go. And Apple's always judged on how much money they make.
That's true.
Donald Trump is always being judged that he's using the presidency for his. Anyways, there's a lot of comparison to be drawn between those two, which is very interesting. I would like to see a peer-reviewed paper on the links between them if there's a correlation between the Trump administration and Apple. Well, you know, he called him Tim Apple.
Exactly.
You know? Tim Apple. So yeah, Tim Apple. Anyways, onwards to the next topic, HomeKit. HomeKit is an application that allows you to monitor and control your smart devices in your house, like switches, speakers, cameras, like security cameras. And now Apple has integrated security cameras, which means that if a camera detects movement in a certain area of your house or outside, it will alert you and send you the live feed directly, which is very nice. And it doesn't require a subscription, which is also very nice because all of the competitors require you to have a subscription. And so HomeKit basically sends the feed of your house encrypted, which most of smart security cameras don't. It's open to hackers to basically free for all destroy your privacy through that means, and I really appreciate that. Recordings are stored for 10 days on iCloud, and let's say you have if you want 5 cameras in your house to surveil, well, you'll need to upgrade to the 5 terabyte plan, which is reasonable because they're not going to do this for free. You're basically taking use of Apple servers, and so if you want up to 5 cameras, then you have to go for the 2 terabyte option, which is not that unreasonable if your family has iPhones. So you could just get the family plan, the 2 terabyte, and everyone syncs their information and all your information is secure. And on top of that, you get the benefit of having 5 cameras surveilling your house. The nice thing about this is those recordings do not take out of your storage.
That's very nice.
So whatever recordings they're taking, it will not prevent you from accessing or putting more data in your iCloud because it's not taking space in your iCloud. It's taking supplementary space, let's say. So you have 2 terabytes plus the camera, not the 2 terabytes with the camera included within.
Exactly.
If you know what I mean.
More space for your photos and all your other stuff.
Yeah. You're not losing anything basically. You're getting more features for the same price, and you're not losing any storage. And lastly, there's something called HomeKit to Router Firewall, which basically protects. Let's say if you have a smart TV, and smart TVs are very prone to be hacked through IP attacks. Once the smart TV is hacked, then they could access all the home network. So basically, they could access any hard drive that is connected to your home network and hack you. Well, what HomeKit firewall routers do is they block access between each device. They create another wall. Build a wall, Donald Trump. They create a wall between each one of your device, protecting one. If one gets compromised by a hacker, then all the others are still protected, and the other ones don't get compromised, which is a very nice thing. And next, iMessage. You want to go with that one?
Sure. Yeah. iMessage. They did a lot of updates to iMessages. iMessage in general. Now what you do is you can put a photo of yourself, let's say for your Apple ID, and it'll bring it over to your iMessage. And what it's going to do is that now all your contacts on their contact of you is going to update to that picture. So that's going to be very nice. That's a nice little addition. So now all your contacts are going to get photos if they have photos of themselves for their Apple ID. That's very nice. They also added more Memojis. If you don't know what Memoji is, it's a little thing that you can do with, now not anymore, but before it was using the 3D sensors of Face ID, the Face ID sensors on your iPhone or iPad. You can make an emoji that looks like you. And now what you can do is they're bringing a Memoji emoji keyboard to iMessage. So now you can have like the laughing face or the nervous face or the smiley face, but it's your Memoji, so it looks like you're doing it, which is cool.
Yeah, it basically resembles Bitmoji,
the
application, where you could create a sticker of yourself, and that allows you to basically create your own emojis and post them wherever you want within the emoji keyboard, which is nice if you're young.
Yeah. And it's also available on all devices that have an A9 chip or higher, which is the iPhone 6s, SE, and higher, which is very nice. And now, even if you don't have a 3D sensor, you can still make a Memoji. Just you won't be able to control it using your face, but you'll still be able to make a Memoji for the Memoji keyboard, which is nice.
And there you go, Apple bringing feature parity to all of their platforms. So they first brought it to the iPhone X and iPhone XS, and now it's coming to the other ones. So and so that's it for messages.
Next thing
there's other improvements, but we'll find more about them. We'll find out more about them in the next keynote, where they'll discuss about it further. And nextly, we have cameras and photo.
What they did to the camera and photo is very, very nice. To the Photos app, we'll start with the Photos app. They completely revamped the Photos app entirely. Now what it is, it's that like you have like sections with like all your photos, or you have albums, and then after there's all these other sections. Anyways, what they did now is they separated it into 4 parts. There's all, which is all of your photos. There's days, months, and years. And what that is that if you're on all, it'll just show your entire camera roll. But what you can do is you could zoom in to see less photos, but they're bigger, or you could zoom out to see more photos, but they're smaller. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it does make sense.
Anyways, that's my best description of it. And also what they did is that when you go onto the Days tab, it'll show you all your photos you took in previous days, and it'll show you the best photos you took of that day. And like if there's a video, it'll autoplay as you're scrolling by. It'll start autoplaying, which is it's a cool little feature. And same thing with months. It'll separate all your photos into months, and then after it'll show you the best part, like the best photos from that month. And then again, the same thing with years. It'll separate your photos into years, and it'll show you the best photos from those years. So let's say I want to see my pictures from 2016. I just go into years, go on 2016, and I have those photos from then. They redid the camera app. It's very nice. The editing on the Photos app, the editing on the Photos app is completely redone. Now you can edit almost everything, like a professional editing app. Like you could edit like the white balance, and you could edit all kinds of stuff. I'm not a photo editor, so I don't know too much about that.
Well, I think I remember well that they added the feature where you could rotate, let's say, video.
Yes, video too.
While you're recording with your camera, let's say by accident you turned it, and so now you could fix that with the software. And within the software, you could fix the orientation of the camera so that if by accident you turn the camera, you start recording in the wrong orientation, you could fix that. And nextly, I just want to add something that sometimes when you look at your camera roll where you have all your pictures, you sometimes have lots of clutter, like screenshots of receipts, emails, stuff like that. And so now they're using this machine learning, which allows the application to hide those pictures and duplicates. So let's say you took 5 pictures of the same thing with no quality difference between them. It will hide those, and it will only show you in the memory section, like in the section where you look at all your memories, the relevant pictures, and not the receipts and the stuff like that. So you still have access into it in another category, but in the memory part where you remember all your like relevant stuff like your birthday, you will not see the receipts and trash and garbage that you just carry around in your camera roll. So that's a nice feature.
Yeah, it's a very nice feature. Exactly. Yeah.
And so the next thing they announced in the keynote was the AirPods. Now AirPods got a new feature which allows it to read messages and reply to messages through Siri. So let's say you're in the gym, on the treadmill and running or doing something, or on the bicycle, and someone sends you a message and you want to respond to the message, but you can't because your phone is in your pocket or somewhere else, and you're running. So what you could do is ask Siri. You say, yo dingus, yo Siri, yo Siri, read me that message, and then they read the message. And after that, what you could do is also reply. So you could give Siri a response to that message automatically without touching your phone, without touching your watch, without touching your AirPods. You're just running and talking. You could have a conversation with Siri. And that way, Siri replies to whatever text message you have, and your friends will be happy because you actually responded within a moderate amount of time. So that's an audio benefit that you get now with the AirPods. Nextly, there's also audio sharing with AirPods. So what that works, I don't know. I've always wished that would work, or to find a way to make it work, where you could share one phone, but like 2 people listening to it with both headphones, so you don't have to give your headphones to someone else. Like that's a feature that I've been waiting a long time and never thought Apple would make, but they actually did it. So the way it works is, let's say I'm listening to my music, you're listening to your music. We just tap our phones together, and it will give us a message where it says, "Do you want so and so to listen to your music?" And you say confirm, and there you go. You're listening with me now. So
that's amazing.
That's a cool feature.
That's a really cool feature.
Yep, it's a cool feature. But I think it only works with the W1 or the H1 chips. So any other device that doesn't have a W1 or H1 chip, it's not going to work.
Yeah, well,
that's what I guess.
Yeah, I think so. I think it only works with those Apple processors in the headphones.
Yep. And also the HomePod. The HomePod is another product which Apple makes audio related, and they've improved it, and that's one of our predictions that went true. Now the HomePod has something called handoff, which means that, let's say you're outside of your house and you're talking on the phone, and then you walk in within your house and you want to, let's say, remove your clothes or remove your shoes, but you want to keep talking on the phone. So what you could do is tap your phone to the HomePod, and the HomePod will pick up the audio call from there, and you could continue talking to that person through the HomePod, which is really very cool. Very nice. Or let's say your battery on your phone is running low, so you just tap it on the HomePod, and then the HomePod will continue your phone call, and then you could charge your phone and do whatever you want. So that's a very good feature. I was really impressed with that one. And they've also added 100,000 radio stations on the HomePod. So now you could play 100,000 radio stations, which I will probably never do. But
it's just it's
good to know.
Cool addition, I guess.
Yeah, a lot of people still listen to radio, so might as well have it.
Exactly.
And at last, they have brought. The great Apple engineers have brought voice recognition. So now we could have multiple users for the AirPod. So let's say you have a household of 4 people. Each person will have his voice recognized and paired through to the HomePod. And so when you ask for music to be played, you could play your own music. So let's say you say, "Yo Siri, play my favorite music," and so it will put your favorite music. Why am I talking like this? Or let's say you want to message someone through your voice. So you say, "Yo Siri, message Dwane." that he's ugly, and so Siri will message Dwane, your friend, and not your dad's coworker. And there's reminders integration, notes. So you could say, "Hey, yo, Siri, write something down for me because I have a very short brain span, whatever, and I will forget what I'm about to say. So I'm going to write it down, but I don't know how to write it because I'm dyslexic. So I'm going to make you write it down for me." And then Siri writes it down.
This is what you have to tell Siri. You have to say, "Yo, Siri, put on my reminders to remind me to text my friend Dwane that he's ugly." And then after, Siri will remind you to text your friend Dwane and tell him he's
Poor
ugly.
Dwane, he never deserved this.
Poor Dwane, he didn't.
And you could also tell Siri, "Yo, Siri, call Dwane," or you could write it on your calendar as well. That you could say, "Yo, Siri, put on my calendar that I should remind Dwane that he's ugly every Monday at 5 p.m."
No, it's put on my calendar that I have a meeting with Dwane at Monday at 12 a.m.
Okay.
PM, sorry, PM, 12 p.m.
And then in the notes of that reminder and calendar, you would put that I have to remind Dwane that he's ugly. So
That's the meeting. It's about him being
poor Dwane. You know,
Dwane's out there listening.
Dwane, he was born that way, so we can't help it. Anyways, next, CarPlay. CarPlay is Apple's version of smart car interface, and so now it is available on 90% of US cars and 70% on global cars around the world. And you get split view now, and with that split view, you could benefit of the new features and the improved features of calendar, music, and app refresh, which is very nice. And whenever I get a CarPlay car with a car system that's made by Apple, I will be able to discuss more about this. But now I don't know much about it because I don't have a car with this equipment in it. So
I've actually used CarPlay, and it's very intuitive. It's very nice.
Is it? Well,
Yeah.
What car?
It was an Opel Mokka. It was in Italy. We rented a car, and it worked very nice. Like, you just plug in your phone. You have to plug in your phone. It doesn't work via Bluetooth. Well, at least in that
some of
car.
them work with Bluetooth and some of them don't. Yes, I see.
Yeah, it was, you plug in your phone, and then you get all your apps. You get music, you get maps, and it was very convenient because we would use the maps off of the phone because we didn't have a GPS, like a physical GPS. Everyone uses GPSs off their phone, so we'd be using the GPS off the phone, and instead of having like a phone stand or whatever, or having the small screen of this phone, you have it on the car display and in the car speakers.
On the plus side, your phone is charging while you're doing that, so you're not really wasting battery life. So that's cool. That's cool. And lastly,
CarPlay works very well.
Yeah, CarPlay is definitely a useful thing. And so the nice thing about CarPlay also is now it has Siri, and Siri has improvements now. So Siri has an amazing voice now.
Yes.
Usually, if you ask Siri to say any complex sentence or read something on your screen that's mildly complex, it will mess up in the intonation of her voice or his voice because you could have male Siri. And so
Dwane has a male Siri.
Yeah, Dwane, he always has male Siri. He has like Australian Siri set on his phone. So
why are we hating on Dwane?
No, actually, because Dwane is from California.
That's it. It's because Dwane's from California. That's why.
Dwane is from California, and he has a California time face, and he drives a Ferrari California, and he has a Californian pizza on his passenger seat. You know, who leaves pizza on the passenger seat after 3 weeks? Why? Dwane. Only Dwane does that.
Only Dwane does that. Only Dwane
does that. Anyway,
that's why we have to call him every Monday, remind him he's ugly.
And another thing they did with Siri is they improved shortcuts, but that's a topic for another time because to discuss about all the shortcuts improvements would take forever, and they kind of rushed on it in the keynote. But
they did.
I heard about Vitici in the last episode of the live Connected, discussing about what happened to the shortcuts app, and I'm really happy with the improvements. So I don't know if you remember, but there's, just to give you a little hint of what was changed. Sometimes shortcuts, there's shortcuts within settings. I don't know if you ever saw that.
No, I haven't.
So if you go in Siri, then you could go and find pre-made shortcuts in there. Well, they moved those to the application of shortcuts. So now
Oh.
the system made, like your phone sometimes will create shortcuts for you. Well, now they're already in the application of shortcuts instead of being in settings, which is very strange, but now they fix it. And other miscellaneous topics.
Yes.
Now they have call spam management. Hallelujah! Yes!
Yes.
Yes!
Yes.
So if someone calls you and you don't know who it is, first of all, you could set up a profile. And that person will... so let's say I'm texting Daniel, but I got a new number. I could set up myself a profile like Messenger or a Facebook Messenger. And when I message Daniel, he'll know who I am because I have a picture and my name on it. Well, now you could do that. And if I don't know that person, or that person is not my contact, and that person might be suspicious, or like some of those people trying to get your money. Yeah, hackers. Some of those people trying to get your money or trying to fix your computer, even though you don't have a Windows computer, but they're still trying to fix it. So you could block those, and it's improved. They have like this database where they could block it, and also now there's low data mode.
Oh, finally.
So let's say you're running low on your data. Well, you could put it on low data mode, and it will only use it for essential things like your location, your last location.
Maps.
Yeah, and now there's an extra feature for people that use their iCloud accounts for work. You could have now 2 iCloud accounts on your phone, one for work and one for your regular life. So
Personal life.
that's in conjunction with the 2 SIM cards, the eSIM and the regular SIM.
Yes.
So you have one for your work and one for your life, and so they're doing the same thing with iCloud. They're allowing you to have a work iTunes account or whatever it's called, work iCloud, and then a regular one, which is nice. And so that is all.
It's a nice addition.
Yep, that is all for this episode. We would like to thank you for listening. This is not the end of the stuff that happened in WWDC, but we thought that we'd release it as soon as we can, and we would come with a part 2 because there is more stuff and the best stuff is yet to come. So join us on the next episode of the Again and Again podcast. I would like to thank you for listening throughout the end, and we'll find you next week as we continue this topic. We're not next week. What am I saying? Not next week. We'll probably record this in either tomorrow or after tomorrow or the day after. So within the next 3 days, we'll record this part 2 and we'll release it. So now you get a bonus episode. Congratulations. You will have more content to consume and enjoy. All right. We'd like to thank you and bye-bye.
Yes. Bye.